Yes, it's your boy Eddyblaze on episode 3 of African Igbo Hausa Boy. I want to talk about culture and how I picture it in my mind, how I wish it to be like. It's raining outside, but don't mind the noise, just listening to the information I'm trying to pass across and get the concept. And I would like to hear your thoughts on how you think culture should be like. So I'm going to be using a slide to make you understand the concept I want to picture because I believe that when you express information with pictures, people get to understand more and more of the concept and try to retain the memory. So I'm going to be using pictures to demonstrate what I'll be saying to you guys about culture. I know someone somewhere that listening to both episode 1 and episode 2 of African Igbo Hausa Boy is thinking that a culture should be like I see it, that the authenticity of every individual race will be lost, and that culture should be preserved in its original state in order to maintain its uniqueness and authenticity. People that see culture in such perspective believe that the mainstream culture isn't authentic because it is a mismatch of various world culture and they would that it would eventually consume all the unique cultures of the world. They believe that it is dangerous for culture to blend and mix and merge and that it should not be encouraged because the consequences of every given action should be considered because the ends justify the means. But here's my position on this. I believe that culture should be allowed and encouraged to evolve as soon as necessary. As a matter of fact, culture is already constantly evolving. Culture evolves as when we learn new ideas, new technology, and new inspiration. In as far as you are ready to learn, which every human should always do to make the world a better place with better breeds of humans, I believe that what is what we identify today as an Igbo language is a mismatch of various elements of various cultures over many generations, and it will eventually be different in another 100,000 years or more. It has evolved from what it is in just 2 centuries ago, which I'm sure it's different from what it was like 3 centuries ago. Who can even really say that what we consider the Igbo language is even up to 2 centuries ago? I need to give a definition of culture. Wikipedia defines culture as the social behavior and norms found in a society. Culture may also be defined as a set of norms or traditions and values of a society or community, typically in an ethnic group or nation. Culture is also defined as a set of knowledge acquired over time. So, in this sense, multiculturalism values the peaceful coexistence and mutual respect between different cultures inhabiting our planet Earth. Now, I want you to picture my perception about this. I will take a step further to say that we should try to respect all the whole diverse culture on the planet. We should also seek a common ground and try to encourage the blending of culture in order to get to where I believe eventually find true peace and harmony in the world. Basically, what I'm saying is this. I sincerely appreciate the uniqueness in cultural diversity and I wish the entire planet to be more multicultural, accepting and accommodating of other groups and learning to find commonality rather than difference from the other group. And by the other group, I mean everything from race to class to religion to nationality to ethnicity to sexual orientation or sexual preference to ideology. I mean all the things that constitute culture and eventually all the things that keep us divided. I believe that our inability to see another as human being first before any other thing else is what hinders our pursuit of equality. If you believe strongly in your religion, your ideology, your tribe, your culture in general, that you are willing to do whatsoever to preserve it, then you are really no different from Hitler or any of those racist groups around the world because that is the basic foundation of their campaign. Like in Kaduna State, Nigeria, Religion has become a subject of controversy between Christians and the Muslims since the 1980s. The introduction of Islamic Sharia law in 2000 in Kaduna State against the secular state status and principle of Nigeria Constitution sparked one of the most violent conflicts ever witnessed in the state. Muslims had higher population in the state, so what triggered the Sharia conflict in 2000 was the impression of Christians that the Muslims will Islamize the state. In spite of both human and material losses, which are deeply regrettable, notwithstanding the crisis have led many people who could not own shacks in times of peace to be house owners. The Sharia law not only insists on stoning for adultery, but also amputation for left hand or flogging of lesser Islamic crime of alcohol consumption and sex before marriage. Under Sharia law, as practiced in the northern Nigeria, pregnancy outside marriage is sufficient evidence to convict a woman. In light of globalization, how do we determine the limits within which we will implement Sharia law so that the rights of non-Muslims are respected? The issue of Islamic law has provoked a deep constitutional crisis in Nigeria. Now, please, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should not be proud of your culture or heritage. What I'm suggesting here is that the minute you become obsessed about cultural preservation in a way that prevents evolution, you have begun to tread the same path that led to extremes such as the Nazism versus the Jews, the Hausa versus the Igbo, the white against the black. Less extreme but equally horrible version and symbiosis and prejudice. And this is what led to the racist white man who doesn't want his daughter to get married to the black man, the Igbo man who doesn't want his daughter to get married to the Yoruba man, the straight person who thinks and believes that gay is a kind of mental disorder, the rich person who thinks that poverty is a result of laziness. We have to all be in the condition to hold on many of those biases and prejudices because of the ground they belong to. It is also as if each group and each survival actually depends on the denigration or even eliminating of other competing groups. It is the only way to explain why a normal human being has the ability to condone the idea of killing a fellow human being simply because he wears a different skin color, carry a different flag, or worship a different god. I believe that event to stop evolution is termed evil. This may actually be the single most influential cause of loss of human life throughout the history of human species. Many racist group campaigns across the globe are born under the need to preserve the need for certain group ideology. It is the attempt by certain groups to suppress cultural evolution. I know it's always difficult for people of different races to see themselves as the same, but if you believe strongly in the preservation of culture and you do anything to keep your belief, you should recognize that your preservation goals are very far from those of the nationalists or separatists that's what brought about most war in history and has been the effect on for cultural preservation or deliberate suppression of cultural evolution. In some cases, some cultures are even trying to eradicate others for capital gains, like Hitler World War II campaign was built upon such foundation. Hitler and his followers have strong commitment to national values and ideas. Nazism was first and foremost nationalist idea. It was concerned only with the German and German interests, mainly to restore the German economy, rebuilding its army and providing for the Germany. The Nazis has little interest in informing or improving international relationships except to advance German interests. They detest diplomacy. They despise multicultural and multilateral groups. Hitler and his followers has no intention for acrimony or abiding by existing foreign treaties except war, which they believe that war may help them fulfill their own German objective. One of the extreme results in this line of thinking is that Hitler started eliminating existing inferior groups and in order to what he considered to be a superior race. Racism and
discrimination are all built and led on the need to preserve foreign difference. They are the big barrier of human self-development and equality. I believe that human equality can only be achieved when we finally blend to the point of recognizing that we are human first before any other thing that separates us. And we must learn to accept all steps that evolved from who we are. I believe in globalization. I believe in globalization that form all the world's culture, and most important step to notice that we all belongs to one race. Culture is necessary at certain time for certain reason, and as soon as that purpose is done, it's no longer necessary.
My core purpose of this talk is that culture should be allowed to mix. I mean, uh, black guy should be allowed to have sex with a white girl, and the parents of the white girl should allow their kids to go to a black school, and students in a black school should not bully white kids because of the color of their skin. I mean, they should be mixing in cultural diversity, like they should be mixing language. An Igbo man should allow his kids to be friends with the Yoruba man's kids. If we don't treat this back, then we are also validating the Illuminati thing, this something that culture should not be allowed to mix in any way. My dream is that one day we all as humans, no matter where we are on the planet, will recognize and acknowledge the fact that a child suffering in Kenya who has no food to eat is as important as a child in the White House. We are equally human and we should be equally responsible for each and every human guy in the world. Thank you for watching this video on African Igbo Hausa Boy episode 2. If you did not watch episode 1 and 2 of African Igbo Boy, you can go to my YouTube link and get a view of my perception of culture. Thank you very much. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel to get good content on cryptocurrency and the world in general. Thank you very much.